Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the Introduction to the Web Applications course. Do you hear me fine? There in the back, can you hear me? Okay. Okay, welcome to the course. It's super high the volume, but okay, this is the Introduction to the Web Applications course. I'm Juan. I will be teaching the course during this semester. So I will be teaching the lessons here, and I also will be at the lab sessions. And basically today's session is just to introduce the course, to agree on the rules of the course. I will let you know what are the goals of the course. And well, next week we will start with the topics, okay? Okay, so basically the goals of this course is to understand the fundamentals of web applications. I don't know if, since all of you are informatics students, if you have some experience on creating web applications, but the idea is to start from scratch and try to learn which are the basic concepts, and conceptually what are web applications. We will use the main web technologies that maybe some of you might already know, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and I'm particularly interested into creating real-world scenarios. So we will try to create web applications that are useful like in the real world, not just theoretically or learn theoretically how it works, but try to make something that makes sense and that the people can use. Then we will use a Python framework that we will see later that is called Flask, and through that framework we will try to create like a real application trying to emulate what the web server would be. And finally, that I think it's like the most important goal, or the one that I would like to emphasize more in this course, is to create a complete medium complexity web application that is usable, that is accessible, and well, that's like the goals of this course. This is an overview. Maybe some of these concepts at this point doesn't make any sense because we haven't seen them already. It's just to list them. So we will learn something about web design and visual design, web architectures, HTML5, CSS, the DOM manipulation, the Flask framework that I was telling you before, the database integration, and finally, like the last topic might be something concerning the authentication and the sessions and the management of the users. Perfect. So how the course will work? We will have the hours in the lesson that will be somehow theoretical hours. So we will have 4.5 hours per week, 1.5 today, and 3 hours tomorrow. So the idea is that the course won't be completely theoretical, also because it will be very boring and it's not useful to learn these kind of topics in theory, but it is more important to try to learn and to make sense them by doing them practical. So the format will be always 1.5 hours. I will try to present like the theoretical aspects based on the slides, based on the conceptual part, and the other other 1.5 hours will be typically like exercise that we will try to implement together. So the invitation here is please bring your laptops so that at the same time or simultaneously with my explanations, you can try on the computer and see if what you are seeing and if what we are implementing makes sense and if it works. Okay? So we'll try to make it as interactive as possible. We will try to make it as practical as possible. So on each lesson, we will try to have the lectures, the theoretical part, and then an exercise that we will try to implement together, okay? Then all of the lessons will be recorded. So in this moment, I'm trying to record like the lesson, and then I will upload in the YouTube channel that we will talk about it later. So that if you can't come to physically to the class, then you can take a look at the video and you can get basically everything, okay? So this is the lectures. And then we will have the labs. So the lab will be on Friday. It is 1 hour and a half. We will have like 2 sessions of the lab, and I will try to distribute all of you among these two sessions, okay? This week, just because it's the first week and we don't have already the concepts to be doing something on the lab, we will have the lecture. And it will be in the same classroom as the lab, but it will be a theoretical session. But from the next week onwards, we will be doing the labs, okay? Questions? Yeah.
This week it will be at 2:30, the lesson.
Yep. Yep. In the same hour and in the same room. Okay, so as I was saying before, the lessons will be held in the classroom. Here in this classroom, we have like the plugs for the computer. So the idea and the invitation is please bring your computer so that you can try what I'm explaining to you directly on the computer and see if it works. The first part will be typically the slides, but I won't pretend to do everything with the slides. So the first part is the slides, and then the second part, we will be working, we will agree like on a incremental web application that we will try to implement all of the sessions. So all of the sessions we will be working on that depending on the topics that we will see that week, okay? And I will live coding with the computer so that you can see how it works in practice, how the implementation is done, and you can try to reply on your computer. And of course, all of the material that we will be implementing during the weeks will be also uploaded so that it will be available for you. So we will work collaboratively on the development of an application throughout the semester. Bring your laptop, and all the sessions will be recorded and made available on YouTube. The lectures will be recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube, not the labs, because the labs is everyone working by himself, so they won't be recorded, okay? Up to now, questions? Is everything clear? Yeah? Okay, I will go to that. Okay, then we have the labs. The labs are like an space, an opportunity to apply what you have learned in the week. They are important because, as you might know as computer engineering students, it usually happens that when you learn something theoretically, it makes completely sense, but then when you struggle in practice with something, you notice that there are some issues, that there are some things that it doesn't work, that by doing the things in practice is where you really can test yourself and see how much do you understand and how proficient you are with the topics that you have understood, okay? So basically, I would like you to see the labs, to perceive the labs as an opportunity to apply what we have done in the week. On the one hand, that's an advantage that you can try on the things. And on the other hand, it also has the advantage that the labs are structured incrementally. So it will consist in a text that I will be publishing each week. And by the end of the semester, by doing the labs, you will be completing a complex web application, okay? So somehow, if you follow the labs, if you work weekly on them, if you try to, by the end, you will have an application, a working application, that will be very similar to the one that you will have to implement for the final project. I mean, technically, it will have everything that you are expected to implement by the final project. So my advice is try to follow the labs as much as possible. If you can't come here, however, work them at home, and try to do it like weekly. So by the end of the course, you won't have to review everything and try to do everything in a week, but that you have something solid to work on, okay? Then I will upload the text of the lab, typically Wednesday, for instance, since we have the lab on Friday, so Wednesday I will publish always the text. So if someone wants to take a look at it before going to the lab, you can have the chance of taking a look at that. And then the next week, next Wednesday, I will publish the text of the next lab and the solution of the previous one, okay? So that if you want to take a look at how was the solution, or if you had any difficulty solving it, you can take a look at the solution. In the labs, everyone can bring their computer. You can work in groups if you want. You can exchange ideas. I'm not against that. If you want to both share among yourselves how you implemented something, how you did something, it's completely fine. Indeed, I would like the labs to have that mood, let's say. So it's completely fine. And as I told you before, we won't have lab this week, but the next one will be the first one, okay? For the lab, since we are like 150 students, something like that, we have to divide into groups. So the idea to divide, or the strategy to divide ourselves is, I created this Google form. In that Google form, I ask your preference for the lab session, if you prefer the first one or the second, if you have any restriction or any reason why you have to go to the first one, or if you are open to go to the second one. And then based on your responses, I will try to distribute you as fair as possible, okay? So the first homework would be, please take a look at this form, and by Friday at midnight, please fill it out.
The times are not correct.
The
times.
Okay, I will take a look at that. So don't fill it now. I will take a look, and then I will let you know when to fill that. Well, indeed, okay, I will check it later. Okay, up to now, do you have questions? Is it clear how it works, the lectures, how it works, the labs? So to summarize, we will be working basically on two parallel applications. One of them is the one that we will incrementally develop here during the lessons, during the practical part of the lessons, and the other one will be the one that you will be implementing during the labs. So by the end of the course, you will have on the one hand the application that we will implement here, and on the other hand the one that you will implement on the lab. Okay? Perfect. So which are the resources of this course? Which are the materials? On the first hand, we will have the official course, the official website of the course. That is this one. Here you will find, okay, the introduction, that is like the general information of the course with the class schedule. Then we have the calendar of the course. Here is the place where all the weeks I will be uploading the slides. So for instance, today, if you click at the course introduction, you will already have like the PDF of the slides that I'm showing to you. Okay? In this table, you will also find the link to the YouTube video that I will upload after the lesson is finished, after I upload to YouTube. And you will also find, of course, this week we don't have lab, but also here you will find the text for the labs, okay? So basically, all of the resources will be here. You will find the slides, the text for the lab, also the code and the solutions, both for the lab and for the application that we will be working here in the lecture. So everything is basically here, and everything is in the schedule section. Okay? By the end of the course, you will find here in the exam section the text of the application that you are supposed to implement. Okay? So in the official website, we will have the calendar of the lectures and the labs, the links to the slides, the exercises sheets, the code developed in class, and the labs solutions. Then we will have the YouTube channel, that is this one. So of course, we don't still have any video here, but each week, after each lesson, I will try to upload as soon as possible the lesson video. Okay. And then we will have the GitHub repository. That is this one. That is the place where I will also be uploading all the material, both the code, the slides, the text, so everything will be here. So you are free if you want to clone the repository so that you can get all of the material and constantly pull the repository to get all of the material, or if you want to go each time to the website and download the material, okay? Both of them are fine for me. Clear? Questions? Okay. This one, super important. We will try to avoid as much as possible the mails, because honestly, the mails get lost, or if you write something to me and maybe I forget to answer immediately, it will get lost. So the communication will be always, well, almost always via Telegram. So we will have the group chat, and it will be divided into 3 topics. One of them is the announcements. The announcements is basically the section in which I will be telling you when I upload everything, when the videos are available, when the material is available. So basically the announcements of the course. Then we will have a questions and answers section. So it's the kind of topic in which you can ask questions. Something is not working, this is happening to me. Does anyone has this problem? I'm trying to solve that. So that's the topic. And then for each exam of the course, I will create a topic in which you will ask the questions concerning that specific exam, okay? For each appello, I will be creating a topic and you can ask all of the questions in that exam. So if any of you haven't still joined the group, please join. You can scan the QR code. Everyone is in the group? Okay. And of course, if you need to ask me something privately, you can feel free to write a message directly to me. It's completely fine, okay? Okay, for this semester, I will also be available on these office hours. So I decided to to set them for Wednesday from 4 to 5, 4 to 5. Of course, if you can't specifically go in these hours, we can agree on something, but let's say that by default, I will try to make this the office hours. Again, if you need a space to talk with me, or if you have a question, something you might like to discuss with me, let me know with a Telegram message, and we can agree on an hour if this one doesn't work. Of course, let me know at least a day in advance so that I can schedule that meeting with you. Okay. You can go there individually or in groups. If you have any question that you and your colleagues have, you are free to come also, like a group of you. So it's fine, and well, it's basically an opportunity to solve questions, or even if you want to go deeper in some topic, or if you are interested into learning more about a specific topic or argument or technology, something like that, you are welcome to come. The only condition is please let me know at least one day in advance. Okay. Okay, so now concerning the exam will be completely practical. So I'm not interested into doing a written exam, because as I told you, this course is basically a practical course. And I will assess how much you learn about the course by taking a look of what you are able or your proficiency in implementing something in practice. So it will concern the development of a web application, of course, because this is the web application course. So you will be asked to implement an application using the same technologies that we have seen here. That is the same technologies that we will use in the exercise, in the lab exercise, and the same technologies that we will be dealing with here in the lectures. So as I told you before, by the end of the course, if you follow the labs, if you come to the sessions, you will have a very good basis to implement the exam. It will be an individual project, meaning that each one of you have to implement the solution individually. And you will have 20 days to complete the implementation of the application. So it basically works that 20 days before each exam session, I will be uploading the text with all of the requirements, with all of the specifications of the application that you will have to implement. And from that moment up to the day of the exam, you will have time to implement the solution. Okay? Then you will send the solution through the portale. You will upload the solution before a specific time. It is very important. I will remember you this by the time we will be working on that, but I will already say that to you. Please send the exam before the specified date. Okay? If by any reason you are not able to upload the exam by the specified, then I won't be able to evaluate the exam. Okay? So this is a very important rule. Always send the exam before. Okay? Okay, so on the one hand, you will be sending the exam, and then the assessment will consist of an oral examination in which we will meet, and for each one of you, I will devote like 20 minutes, and in a live session, we will see how the application works. I will evaluate how the features were implemented. I will take a look at all of the functionalities, and we will assess if everything works as expected. Okay? So first, you submit the application, and then we will agree on a date, on a slot, and with each one of you, we will be sitting one next to the other, and we will take a look lively at the application, and we will evaluate the application. And of course, I will ask questions about how did you implement the application, why did you take some decisions, like some not theoretical questions, but some questions on the reasoning that you follow to implement the application. Just to give you an example, This, for instance, is the text of a typical exam. Of course, this is from the previous course that was the Italian course and had less grades than this one. So it's basically a different course, but the dynamic will be the same one as here. So basically, I'm sorry, this is in Italian, but basically I will upload the text with the descriptions and with the requisites of the application. Okay, this is like the technical requisites, that is basically that we will be using the technologies that we have studied here during the course. And then, most importantly, I will upload this description. And the description, for instance, in this case, it was, we want to create a web application for managing a music festival. Okay? In that web application, we are expecting to have like the administrator of the application and the users of the application. The users want to buy tickets. The administrator want to publish like the lineup of the festival and the artists. And of course, it has some rules and some specifications. Why do you see comments on that side of the document? Because when I upload the text, you will have like 1 or 2 days in which you can ask all of the questions that you might have on the text. Any clarifications, anything you don't understand, basically any request for clarification, you can ask that. And I will answer and eventually fix some inconsistencies or so that we can agree on a final text. After those 2 days, I will publish the final version, and it is against that final version that the evaluation will be conducted. Okay? So, for instance, just to give an example, someone wrote here in this phrase, what's the meaning of the phrase? That each participant can buy just 1 ticket, or that something else? So that kind of conceptual clarifications, that's the opportunity to ask all of the questions you want, so that I can publish a final text upon which all of we agree, and that we are completely clear about the requisites and about the understanding of the exam. Okay, in the oral examination, that is the second part of the exam, basically the idea is to get sure that everyone is conscious of what you have implemented, that you have a good knowledge of what you have done, that you can justify the decisions that you made, that you can justify why did you implement some things in a certain way, why did you create X component. It's basically, it's not, again, it is not an oral examination about a specific topic, or I won't ask questions like memory questions, tell me how many, no. The idea is to try to reason and try to understand your specific implementation. So the questions will be based on your specific implementations. My interest there is that you have a practical and theoretical knowledge of the design of the web applications code, and that you have the clarity to answer the questions. Okay. Is everything clear with the exam? Okay. Any question? Perfect. Then, in this course, since it is a third-year course of the Bachelor in Computer Engineering, I must give you the chance of doing this final project. I'm not very familiar. I mean, it's the first time that I've heard about this final project. Okay, it is linked to a third-year course. It consists of an additional question during the exam or other assessment method. It is supposed to weight like 1 credit. So the time to prepare that assessment should be the time associated with 1 credit. So what I think for this course is that I will try to assess it in a practical way. Once again, I'm not interested into doing a written test, ask you something about the course, because I mean, this is a practical course. So I don't find it very useful to ask you to write to learn something by memory and then write it into a sheet of paper, because well, it doesn't, for me, it doesn't give any value. So it will be something practical. Here we will have three options that are the options that I've seen so far. That it is, I might ask you to implement an additional feature in the final project. So for instance, I was showing you the music festival project, so I might ask the people that want to apply for the Prova Finale have to implement an additional feature by which the participants can do this or can do that. Or the administrator might have a dashboard in which he sees the statistics of the sales, or well, I can invent something on that. That's one alternative. Another alternative that might be also interesting to you could be like to integrate or to use a new framework different from the ones that we have seen in the course. So you by yourselves get proficient on, so I'll give you an example. For instance, if in the course we will work with SQL databases, relational databases, I can ask you something like, this functionality, try to implement a different functionality using a non-relational database. For instance, Mongo. And you by yourself get proficient and try to learn what Mongo is and how to integrate that, something like that. In that case, it will be more flexible, more open, and something like that. Or the other option is to try to do cloud deployment. By the end of the course, we have in mind to send the application into the cloud, to upload the application into the cloud. But maybe a more advanced cloud deployment might be try to distribute the components among different services, something like that. Okay. My proposal, if you agree, is that later on in the course we can agree on which one we would like to have. Because at the end, my criteria to choose this Prova Finale is the one that inspire you the most, or the one that you would like to follow the most, that make more sense to you. So we can later on decide on this. And what I think to decide on this is that I can create like a poll on the Telegram group, and everyone votes, and the one that gets more votes is the one that we choose. Okay? Is it clear? Okay. Okay, I won't stop here so much, because of course the next lesson and we will start to deep on the tools and on the development environment. Just to let you know, we will use Visual Studio Code that I think most of you are familiar with, and we will use Python. So I would say everyone has Python on the computer, but if someone already doesn't have it, you can download. So, which are the homeworks for today? Homeworks. Like, first of all, join the Telegram group. It is very important because all the communications, all the announcements will be done through the Telegram group. Then select the preferred lab session. I will fix the hours in the form, and I will let you know through a message so that you can indicate your preferred lab session. Then explore the course website, make familiar with what I've shown to you, with the calendar, with where you will find the materials. And finally, if you already don't have Visual Studio Code, of course, download Visual Studio Code. Okay, since we still have some time and today's goal, the goal of today's lab is just to introduce the course, we won't start already with the topics. I thought that it might be a good idea to show you an exam from the last year so that you can take a look of what I'm expecting, but more than that is to inspire you. I would like this course to be something that might have sense in practice. From what I have seen here in the Politecnico, unfortunately, not many courses are practical. So this course is like an opportunity to implement something that you will be able to show to your friends, to your parents, that you can go home and say, I implemented this application, you can use it. So it's not like the typical project course that you just run on your computer and you make sure that it works on the console, but it's something that I would like to be very practical. What's the most important thing for me here in the course is not the grade, of course. I'm fine if you get, all of you, 30 LO, or if you get the maximum grade. It's not a problem for me. But more important than that is that you get inspired with this, that you can find how to implement something practical, that if you have any project, a personal project that you had in mind that you would like to implement, that you have the tools to do that, that if you have any idea, if your parents have a store and you want to implement like the web application for the store or for, that you have the tools to implement something like that. So by the end of the course, the most important thing for me is not if everyone gets 30, let's hope everyone gets 30, but more than that is that everyone gets inspired and find this useful and practical, and that you are willing to use it in a real life scenario. Okay? So I choose here some random projects. I don't know how they are, but let's see. This one is concerning the music festival that I told you before. So it was basically, they were basically asked to implement an application to manage a music festival so that you can publish the lineup of the artists, that the participants could log in and buy the tickets, that the people organizing the festival can get in and publish the lineups. So okay, so just for instance, this one was project. So for instance, okay, this one I suppose was like the landing page. Then we had like the section for the performance and for the tickets. So by clicking on the performance, you have like all the cards with the artist's description. Of course, here I will give you as much freedom as you want to implement the things with for instance, in this case, with the artist that you like the most, or you were completely free. Of course, I didn't give you any template to follow, but the idea is each one of you can experiment and play with it as much as you want. From what I remember, in this page, you were supposed to implement like filters so that you can filter by the day of the performance. Also by the stages. By clicking, okay, it has the description, and also by the genre. Okay, at some point it obviously has like the authentication feature, so that not all of the people is able to do whatever they want in the platform, but that you have to register and to sign up and to log in to do something. Okay, and for instance here I logged in probably as an administrator of the festival, and it shows me like the stats of the festival, how many tickets have been sold, which days the people have bought the tickets. So for instance, tickets sold 262, the number of registered users, the number of performances, also how much money he has up to now by selling the tickets. Yeah, so this is kind of a dashboard of the artists of the festival. Here you can see the tickets, and to buy them. And here, for instance, is the place where he can add a new performance. No? So if, for instance, the administrator wanted to create a new performance with a new artist, he can create here, upload the image, and publish everything. Okay. So here, for instance, it had the option to make it public or to leave it as a draft. So at a first moment, it gets published as a draft, and if he changes this option, it publishes. It is public for everyone. And okay, so this is one solution for the exam text. Do you want to see another one? So that you can get this one, for instance, was another one. Why do I show you this? Because as you can see, yeah. Sorry? Yeah. No, that was what I was going to say. Yeah. No, I show it this one so that you can get an idea that you are completely free to do it however you want. So the kind of questions that anyway we will have on the Telegram group, professor, is fine if I use this color, this or everything is fine. Everything is super valid here, okay? So for instance, as you can see, this one is completely different from the previous one. So that you can see that there is not a template, there is not a guide, there is no predefined color, a predefined theme, a predefined anything. You can work from scratch and do the application as you like, as you get more enthusiastic with. So, okay, so this is a different one. So for instance, here the menu is completely different. It's in the left. For instance, in this one, she decided to use like the music festival map because she thought it was important or interesting to show the map of the stages in the application. Some contact information, frequently asked questions. So the important thing is to fulfill the basic requirements. From there on, you are free to do whatever you want. I mean, if the requirement is you have to sell a ticket, or the user might be able to buy a ticket, perfect, you have to fulfill that. If other than that, you want to add a map, if you want to add a contact session, if you want to add a video, an animation, whatever you want, you are absolutely free. And indeed, you are invited to do as much as you want, okay? So as you see here, there's also the lineup. For instance, here the filters were a feature that was asked. So all of them had to implement the filters, but all of them had the freedom to implement them as however they want. Here, this one, for instance, is sponsored. Yep.
Is it also responsive?
Yep. That's okay. That's another point. In theory, your projects will be, let's not say, somehow nicer than this one, because this year we will have 2 more credits. No, this course, the course in which these exams were made, was a 6 credits course. We will have 8, so we will have the chance to deep on some aspects. For instance, in this course, we couldn't see JavaScript, and JavaScript is like a technology that lets us to add more interactivity, more. So yeah, we will have JavaScript, and then we can go deeper. For instance, in the responsiveness, because for this exam, I mean, we saw the responsiveness topic during the course, but I didn't ask the final exam to be responsive because I knew that we didn't have that much time. But this year, since we will have more time, we will have like the freedom to implement more nicer things. Honestly, I don't know if this one. Yeah, somehow. Yeah, this one somehow is responsive. Okay. Questions? Okay. So do you feel you can do something better than this? Okay. Nice. And finally, the last thing that I would like to talk about, but not the least important. Indeed, I think this one is like the most important. All of you are computer engineering bachelor students, right? Okay. No, because last year this was an elective course that could be taken by everyone, but now I think it's just Informatica. Okay. Nice. So I would like to ask you, which are your expectations of the course? Why did you choose the course? Or if you didn't choose the course and you just were enrolled here because of the secretaria or something like that. So yeah, why did you enroll into this course? Which are your expectations, and what are you hoping to learn and to be able to do by the end of the course? Okay.
And since I wanted to go apply for the cybersecurity, I saw there is an introduction to web application or maybe web application in the cybersecurity courses.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to take this and learn about it. So in my master's, it would be easier. Yeah.
Okay. So, but it is because you want to do a master with the emphasis on cybersecurity.
Yes.
Okay, and then you want to. This course is valid for.
No. I just wanted to learn more.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
Since in master it was like web application, and here.
Sure. Because in the master degree there is the web application 1 and web application 2 course. Yeah. And okay, thank you, because as you said that, we are completely aligned with the master degree course, because anyway the master degree course also belongs to our research group. No, so it is done by the professors of our research group. So everything that you will learn here is somehow aligned with the topics that you will be seeing in that course. Okay, perfect. What else? What are the expectations of the course? What are you hoping to learn? Is it my impression, or does it happen in reality that in informatics there are not so many practical courses? Is my impression, or it happens? Okay. Okay, yeah. I mean, many people have told that to me. For me, it's kind of crazy that you get to the third year of the bachelor and you haven't done anything practical that you can show to a final user. It's kind of strange. So, well, but it is better late than never. So here you will have the chance to show something to your parents. What else? What else? Yep.
It's good because I was interested in making something actually like learning something practical and also like getting this kind of stuff like web applications.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, so I promise to you that by the end of the course you will be able to show the application to your friends, to your parents, so it won't be anymore like the application that you just run on the computer, but that you can show whoever you want and make it work for the normal people, let's say. Okay, what else? Two more people and then we go to lunch. Any other motivations? Any other? Yeah? Okay. Sure. There are? Ah, okay, okay, okay. Okay. Okay, okay. Very good question. So the question is, if the AI can already with a prompt build a website, so how useful this might get. So the answer is, yeah, basically the AI will do everything. This goes. No, I'm joking. No, the real the real answer is okay. I've also seen that there are like some prompts by which the AI can build a site, but then we have to take into account the difference between a website and a web application. No, because a website at the end is like something more light, that is like the typical websites that you can register yourself, some very basic functionalities. The difference with a web application is that the web application has what we call a business logic, that basically it is like very specific requirements. So for instance, when I ask you, the person that participates in the festival has to register and has to fill out this data, and one person can't buy 2 tickets, and if a person buys 2 tickets, the application should behave in this way, and the application should prevent the users from doing that. So that kind of complexity, that kind of business logic is something we have to reason on and that we have to design, let's say. So for instance, also in my case, sometimes you can rely on AI to make you implement some things. But if you don't have an understanding of how it works or which are the components of the applications conceptually, what the AI generates to you don't make any sense, and it won't be maintainable anymore because it just writes a bunch of code for you, but you don't understand what it means. Okay, I wasn't expecting to talk about this in the introductory session, But since we are talking about AI, let's say that it's fine for me if you rely on AI, for instance, to create the CSS, no? That we will see what is the CSS, but it's basically the file through which you add the style to and the visual design of the website. It's fine if you rely on that, or if you rely to do that kind of stuff. What's important to me that you have a completely understanding on why it works, how it works, and why it works. Why what you created through AI works, how it's being applied. That's the important thing. I won't tell you never use AI or it's completely forbidden, or if I find that you use that, you will lose the course. No, it's fine if you have a good understanding of what the AI or what the outcome of the prompt is doing in your application. The complexity of this course is not that much that you will need to rely on AI, okay? So it's something that we can work on, and indeed my advice also is that sometimes when you rely on AI, it gives you very complex solutions, and it raises up the level of the implementation. So once again, for me, my advice is let's try to keep the things simple as we will be starting here. Okay, don't deep with very complex solutions, and but yeah, that's the answer. That's why it still makes sense, this course, even with AI. Okay, what else? Yep.
I'm a bit excited to learn web development with Python and Flask
Okay.
framework, because I had experience with it in Italy in high school.
Okay.
And they taught us more like JavaScript and PHP.
Okay.
The older technology, I'd say.
Kind of.
So I'm very curious to see the differences between these two ones.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, we will be. I think all of us we have used Python, right? Because in the Informatica course you have worked with Python. Okay. Yeah. So we will use a framework to see how it integrates into web development. And then, okay, we will talk about it in the next session, but also the idea of the course is not that you get completely experts on Python or in the specific framework, but it is more that we will use the framework to get an understanding of how a web application works. So that in the future you want to implement a web application with different requirements, you can feel proficient to decide to use a different framework, because you can understand what the framework does, what the component does, and how to develop everything with a different stack. Okay? Perfect. Something else? Okay, so I think we can stop here today. We will see tomorrow at 8:30. Thank you.